Assalamu alaikum. Hello students of class 7. I hope you are doing well. This is Mohammad Mohiuddin Shorkar, lecturer in chemistry, English medium morning shift, Rajagutara Model College. I have made a lecture on subject science, chapter 11, chapter name, change in surrounding and various incidents. Now I am going to talk about on topic change in surrounding, melting and boiling, decaying of metal, alloy, prevention of metal corrosion, and finally combustion. Let's start. Change in surrounding. There are two types of changes in our surrounding. They are physical change and chemical change. Physical change occurs naturally. On the other hand, chemical change occur by the chemical reaction. So, what is physical change? The changes of matter which leads the transformation in the state or shape but does not create a new substance and keeps the properties of matter unchanged are called physical change. Again, the changes of matter which leads the transformation in the state or shape but does not create a new substance and keeps the properties of matter unchanged are called physical change. So we can say in physical changes the properties of matters are unchanged, and in this change there will not create a new substance. So the example of physical change are melting, boiling. We can find out the melting temperature and boiling temperature of every substances, and this type of changes are physical change. So all different types of substance have different melting and boiling temperature. So change of strength, size, color, density, etc. These all are physical changes. So what is chemical change? When a substance combines with another substance and form a new substance, then it is called chemical change. Again, when a substance combines with another substance and form a new substance, then it is called chemical change. So in this change we can say we will get a new substance after a chemical reaction. But we saw the previous one, the physical change, there will not produce a new substance in the physical change, but in the chemical change we will get a new substance. So the example of chemical change, rusting of iron. We know rust can form in on the iron, and this type of changes are chemical change. So burning wood. If we burn wood, we will get water, carbon dioxide and heat, and this is a chemical reaction. So we know chemical change can occur by chemical reaction. So that's why we can say burning wood is a chemical change. So mixing acid and base. If we mix acid and base, we will get salt and water. So this is also a chemical reaction. So we can say mixing acid and base are chemical change. So baking a cake. Here I show example the water formation. So we know what is formed between the reaction of hydrogen and oxygen. So this is a chemical reaction. So you can say the forming water is happened by chemical reaction, and this is a chemical change. So what is melting? The temperature at which the solid substances turn into liquid is called melting temperature or melting point, and this phenomena is known as melting. Again, the temperature at which the solid substances turn into liquid is called melting temperature or melting point, and this phenomena is known as melting. So melting temperature is a particular temperature, but the total phenomena is known as melting. So the melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius. So ice melts at 0 degrees Celsius. So this is the melting temperature of ice, and this phenomena is known as melting. So here I say, if we apply heat on a solid substance, it will be melt, and it will melt a particular temperature, and this temperature is called melting temperature. So this phenomena is known as melting. Here the triangle symbol denotes the heat. So the melting temperature of edible salt sodium chloride is 801 degrees Celsius. So if we apply heat on sodium chloride, edible salt, it will melt at 801 degrees Celsius. So this is the melting temperature of sodium chloride or edible salt. So there are different types of substances have different melting point or melting temperature. So what is freezing? The temperature at which the liquid substances turn into solid is called freezing point or freezing temperature. This phenomena is known as freezing. Again, the temperature at which the liquid substances turn into solid is called freezing point or freezing temperature. This phenomena is known as freezing. So the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius. So in this state, we can say, if we release heat of liquid, and it will turns into solid, and it will freeze at a particular temperature, and this temperature is known as freezing point. So we can say, in this state, liquid turns into solid. And we saw previous topic, the melting. We saw if we apply heat on a solid substances, it turns into liquid, and if we release heat from of liquid substances, it turned into solid. So this is the reversible phenomena. And we also say the freezing temperature and the melting temperature both are same. So we can finally say quantitatively melting point and freezing point both are same, but the physical states are different. So quantitatively melting point and freezing point both are same. So we see the melting point of ice is 0 degrees Celsius. At the same time, the freezing point of water is 0 degrees Celsius, but ice is a solid state and water is a liquid state. So we can say this is a reversible phenomena. So if I apply it solid substances, we will get liquid, and this phenomena is known as melting. And if we release heat of liquid substances, it will turn into solid. So this phenomena is known as freezing. And the melting temperature and freezing temperature of ice and water are same, and that will 0 degrees Celsius. So what is boiling? The temperature at which the liquid substances turn into gas is called boiling point or boiling temperature. This phenomena is known as boiling. So we can say the temperature at which the liquid substances turn into gas is called boiling point or boiling temperature, and this phenomena is known as boiling. So in this state, we will get gas from solid if we apply heat. So the liquid substances turn into gas, and it will turn liquid to gas at a particular temperature, and this temperature is boiling temperature. So the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. So if we apply heat on water liquid state, it will turn to gas at particular temperature, and this temperature is 100 degrees Celsius. The boiling point of edible salt, I mean sodium chloride, is 1465 degrees Celsius. So if we apply heat on sodium chloride, it will boil at 1465 degrees Celsius. So if we apply heat on solid substances, it will melt and turn into liquid, and if we apply heat on liquid substances, it will turn to gas. So decaying of metal. Metal can decay in contact with air. So we can say, we know air contains vapor, oxygen. So it is a chemical changes, and after completing the chemical reaction, the metal can decay. So what is rust? Rust is an iron oxide, a usually reddish brown oxide formed by the reaction of iron and oxygen in the presence of water or air moisture. Again, rust is an iron oxide, a usually reddish brown oxide formed by the reaction of iron and oxygen in the presence of water or air moisture. So this is a chemical changes. So rust on iron is a chemical change reaction or chemical reaction. So rust can be formed by the reaction of iron, oxygen and air, that means water vapor. So we saw the pieces of iron, so it contacts with oxygen and air and form rust. Here is the chemical reaction of rust formation. So iron, as denotes the physical state of iron. So we know iron is a metal and its physical state is solid. The oxygen is gas and water vapor. This is also gas or vapor formation, and it forms ferric oxide n mole of water, or ferric oxide 3 moles of water. So we can write the both formula for rust. So Fe2O3 n mole of water or Fe2O3 3 mole of water, both are correct for rust. So what is alloy? Alloy is a metal made by combining 2 or more metallic elements, especially to give greater strength or resistance to corrosion. So we can nowadays it is very useful because it resists to corrosion. An alloy can be formed more than 2 metals. So you have to use at least more than 2 types of different metals. Example, stainless steel. So stainless steel is an alloy. So it is a several times stronger and harder than iron. So the alternative name of stainless steel is rust-free steel. So in stainless steel, rust can't be formed. So the composition of stainless steels are iron, nickel, chromium, carbon. So these all elements or all metals are present in stainless steel. The composition of steel is iron and carbon. The composition of brass is copper, zinc. The composition of bronze are copper and tin. And the composition of 22 karat gold is gold, copper and other metals. In 22 karat gold, the percent of gold is greater and a small amount of copper is added with gold. So prevention of metal corrosion. So we can prevent the formation of corrosion on metal by using different methods. So electroplating is one of the methods that can apply for prevention of corrosion. So what is electroplating? The method of laying a coating of less reactive metal on more reactive metal by electrolysis is called electroplating. Again, the method of laying a coating of less reactive metal on more reactive metal by electrolysis is called electroplating. So we can say if we want to coat on a metal, and that will be more reactive, and if you want to coat by a metal, and this metal will be less reactive. So why we use less reactive metal for the formation of layer or coating? Because less reactive means it doesn't contact with oxygen or water vapor, and it will not be formed a chemical reaction easily. That's why we will use less reactive metal the formation of coating. So here we say we use iron that are more reactive. We know it can easily form a chemical reaction and form the rust. And as a coating we use copper, and copper is a less reactive metal. So this phenomena is known as electroplating. So we also use nickel, chromium, silver and gold as a generally used as coating or layer. What are the purposes of electroplating? We use it because it prevents the erosion of metal, it increases the attraction and shine of metal. So what is galvanizing? The method of laying zinc coating on any metal is called galvanizing. So we can say if we use zinc as a coat, then it is called galvanizing. So in this process the zinc substances or zinc metal must be used as a layer or coat. Then we will say this process is known as galvanizing process. So we can see iron is used as a which is more reactive substances we know, and as a coat we use zinc that are less reactive. So if we use zinc as a layer or coat, then this process is known as galvanizing. So what is painting? Painting is the practice of applying paint, color or other medium to a solid surface. The erosion of metals can be controlled through painting. So what is combustion? This is a chemical process or chemical reaction, or what is combustion reaction? The process in which any compound or element is burnt in the presence of atmospheric oxygen is called combustion. The process in which any compound or element is burnt in the presence of atmospheric oxygen is called combustion. In this process combustion reaction is occurred. So we can say oxygen must be used in this reaction, and in this process we can say heat is produced. So carbon reacts with oxygen and form carbon dioxide and heat. We know in combustion reaction or in combustion process we will get heat. And sulfur also reacts with oxygen and form sulfur dioxide and heat. We can say the combustion, if we combust sulfur we will get sulfur dioxide and heat, and this reaction is an exothermic reaction. So if we get heat, or in a reaction if heat is produced, then it is called exothermic reaction. So combustion reaction is an exothermic reaction because in this reaction heat is produced. If we combust hydrocarbon we will get carbon dioxide, water and heat. Here methane is a hydrocarbon, so if we combust methane it will produce carbon dioxide, water and heat. That's all. My dear students, if you have any query you can write below the comment box. I will try to give your answer. Thank you.